fruits of ignorance. These are auspicious to hear and propitious to inculcate in one's own life. Those who take these words to the world are indeed great benefactor of the world. So by the grace of Lord, this is the fourth session of our century celebration and the second day of fourth session. Tomorrow we'll have third session, third day of this fourth session. I'm sorry we're a bit late today. So today we'll have the Satsang on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We'll read from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And we are very happy that Swami Vimohananda ji from Vancouver, BC is with us here today. And after Satsang, we'll have some songs also. He sings well, so we'll have songs also. Yes, please, go ahead.
I'm reading from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Visits Ananda Bosa's house. The master was ready to go to Nanda Bosa's house. A palanquin was brought for him, and he got into it repeating the name of God. He had put on a pair of black varnished slippers and a red bordered cloth. As Sri Ramakrishna sat down in the palanquin, M put the slippers by his side. He accompanied the palanquin on foot. Parish joined him. They entered the gate of Nanda's house, crossed a spacious square, stopped in front of the building. The members of the family greeted the master. He asked M to hand him his slippers, and then got out of the palanquin and entered the large hall. It was a very spacious room. Pictures of gods and goddesses were hanging on the walls. Nanda Bosa and his brother Pasupati greeted Sri Ramakrishna and saluted him. The devotees of the master also arrived. Girish's brother Atul came, and Prasanna's father, who was a frequent visitor at Nanda's house, was there. Prasanna was a devotee of the master. The master looked at the pictures. M and a few other devotees stood around him. Pasupati was explaining the pictures to them. The first picture was a Vishnu with 4 arms. At the very sight of it, Sri Ramakrishna was overwhelmed with ecstasy. He sat down on the floor and remained a few minutes in that spiritual mood. In the second picture, Rama was blessing Hanuman with his hand on the devotee's head. Hanuman's gaze was fixed on Rama's lotus feet. The master looked at the picture for a long time and exclaimed with great fervor, "Ah me, ah me." The third picture was of Krishna standing with flute to his lips under the Kadamba tree. The fourth was of Vamana the dwarf, who was an incarnation of Vishnu. The master looked intently at this picture. Next, the master looked at the picture of Nrsimha, and a footnote says God incarnated as half lion and half man to protect Prahlada and destroy the demon Kashipu, his father. And then there was one of Krishna with a herd of cows. Krishna was tending the cows with his cowherd friends on the bank of the Yamuna at Vrindavan. M said, "A lovely picture." Sri Ramakrishna then saw pictures of Dhumavati, Sharashi, Bhuvaneshwari, Tara, and Kali.
These are various aspects of mother, 10 aspects. So like these are Dhumavati, Bagala, Siddha Vidya, Matagiri, Kamalatmika, etc. Kali, Tara, Mahavidya, Shorashi, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta. Like these are various aspects of mother.
He said, all these portray the terrible aspects of the Divine Mother. If one keeps these pictures, one should worship them. But you must be lucky to be able to hang them like that on the wall. At the sight of Annapurna's picture, Sri Ramakrishna exclaimed with great fervor, "Grand, grand." The next picture was one of Radhika as monarch. She was seated on a throne in the Nikunja grove, surrounded by her women attendants. Sri Krishna guarded the entrance of the grove as her officer. Next was Sri Krishna's picture. Then came a picture of Saraswati, the goddess of learning and music. It was in a glass case. She was in an ecstatic mood playing melodies on the veena. After seeing the picture, Sri Ramakrishna went to the master of the house and said, "I am very happy today. It is grand. You are a real Hindu. You have these pictures instead of English ones. I am surprised." Nanda Bose was seated. He said to the master, "Please take a seat. Why are you standing?" Sri Ramakrishna sat down. He said, "These are very large pictures. You are a real Hindu." Nanda, I have European pictures also. Master smiling, "But they're not like these. I'm sure you don't pay much attention to them." A picture of Keshav's Navavidhan hung on the wall. Suresh Mitra, a beloved household of the disciple of the Master, had had it painted. In this picture, Sri Ramakrishna was pointing out to Keshav that people of different religions proceed to the same goal by different paths. Master, that was painted for Surendra. Prasanna's father, smiling, "You too are in that picture." Master smiling, "Yes, it contains everything. This is the ideal of the modern times."
So this picture was painted during Sri Ramakrishna's when he was still in physical body. So now we'll request Swami Vimohananda to say something. Then we'll have question and answers and then sit down.
10-20 minutes.
And the other thing the floor is yours.
Very glad to be here. Of course, yesterday I said, but today there are many new faces, and by Maharaj's kindness, I'm being able to be with you all. So, as Maharaj had told me that since we are discussing the life and teachings of Holy Mother, I should try to say something about her. Yesterday we have already had a little introduction on the philosophical aspect of what Holy Mother represents. Today we will again dilate on the same subject in a more organized manner, because yesterday I was just not really prepared, so so we will again examine the same thing in a little more detail. So Swami Vivekananda has said, I quote him, "To my mind, if modern science is proving anything again and again, it is this, that we are one, mentally, spiritually and physically. The self is the essence of this universe, the essence of all souls. He is the essence of our own lives. Nay, thou art that. You are one with this universe. He who says he is different from others, even by a hair's breadth, immediately becomes miserable. Happiness belongs to him who has realized this oneness, who knows he is one with this universe. So this is the central theme of all our scriptures, the unity of all existence. This is not something very new which has been propounded and stressed by Swami Vivekananda in the modern times. In the ancient times, the Indo-Aryan thinkers, as early as the times of the Rig Veda, so you must be knowing that the Rig Veda is supposed to be the oldest scripture or even any kind of writing which is known to man. Even in those early times, the sages recognized the eternal unity of existence, which holds in its embrace all that has come to be. This unity pervades the universe, yet remains beyond it. So yesterday we have discussed how the same entity can be beyond the universe and also become the universe. All objects, animate and inanimate, are included in it, in this great unity. Gods, men, and subhuman beings are parts of it. As the unchanging reality behind the universe, it was called Brahman by the Hindu philosophers. And as the indestructible spirit or the Atman in man, it is called in Sanskrit the Atman. Swamiji says spirit because he was talking to those who are not conversant. We call it Atman, as you all know. So, Brahman and Atman, the microcosm and the macrocosm, are the same. How to understand this? This very simple example given in the scriptures is trees and forest. Trees, are they different from a forest? No. Forest, is it different from its trees? No. So the same thing, when we see the individual portions or the microcosm, we can say trees, but when we see it as a whole, we call it forest. So here also, this Atman and are the same as the microcosm and the macrocosm. So what is this Brahman? You must have heard the word again and again by now. In Sanskrit, when we try to find the meaning of the word, we go to the root. Each word is derived from a root. And when you have an idea of the meaning of the root, you have a very good idea of what the word means. Derived from a root which means to expand. The word Brahman denotes the entity to whose greatness, magnitude, or expansion no one can put a limit to or measure. As you know, the modern science says the universe is expanding. So here also, Brahman is something which is always expanding, means what? There is no limit. You cannot say Brahman begins here and it ends here. It is infinite. And the word Atman is used to denote the immutable inner consciousness which experiences gross objects during the waking state, subtle objects during the dream state, and during dreamless sleep, when the subject-object relationship ceases to exist, it only experiences bliss. This is the unchanging and transcendental consciousness in man, present in his every act of cognition, no matter what the level or state of experience may be. So this consciousness has to be present in every cognition. Why? For the simple reason that only consciousness can cognize. This hat cannot cognize this paper because both are unconscious. Only that which is conscious can cognize anything. It stands to reason. So naturally, in every act of cognition, consciousness has to be there. So all these things which we see, eyes, ears, nose, etc., these are just the instruments. Even the mind does not cognize. Mind is also the instrument. The cognizer is behind the mind. The mind is also matter. It's very subtle matter. It cannot be grasped by any instrument, but it is also matter. But the real cognition can only come through consciousness. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, in every act of cognition, whatever the level may be, in the waking state, in the dream state, or in the dreamless sleep, there is only one cognizer. Now, we have seen yesterday that how this transcendental reality is beyond everything. The same reality, we can say two aspects. In the Upanishads, it is called, one is with attributes, one is without attributes. With attributes means sa guna. Sa means with, guna is attributes. And the one without attributes is nirguna. Nir means without, guna means attributes. So, when we are talking about the transcendental reality, which transcends the relative universe, it is beyond everything. It is neither the subject nor the object. It is neither the knower nor knowledge nor what is known. So again, here explanation is necessary. In every act of knowledge, there has to be three things. Suppose I know this hat, cap rather, or whatever you call it. So I am the knower. This is what is known. And in between there is the process of knowing. These are called the three things, the triputi. These things have to be present in every act of consciousness. When there is nothing to be known, there cannot be any knower. When you call somebody a knower, it automatically suggests that there is something which is being known by him. Is it not? So, when there is only one unity pervading everything, there cannot be any separate knower and known. For me to know something, it has to be separate from me. When there is nothing separate from that reality, who will know who? So, it is neither the knower nor the knowledge nor what is known. It is neither the seer nor the seeing nor what is seen. It is neither gross nor subtle, neither great nor small. As we see, as we have seen, it is nirguna means beyond all attributes. You cannot predicate anything of that. It is neither being nor non-being, neither happiness nor unhappiness, neither mind nor matter. It is beyond all notions of substance and attributes. Nothing whatsoever can be predicated of it, because it is beyond all activities and beyond all relations. So when that is the situation, creation becomes impossible. Who will create whom? For me to create, suppose I am making a pot. I am separate, and the matter from which I make something that is separate. I am the maker, and the matter is from what it is, the pot is made, clay. Naturally, in that state, there can be no question of creation. Who will create what? But in the scriptures, it is also said that this universe emanates from Brahman. Now, how do you explain that? In that transcendental state, there is nothing which can be pinpointed as this. You cannot say anything about it. But still the scriptures say it is from that Brahman only that the universe emanates. So who creates? That is the question. Now we come to the second aspect of Brahman, what we call Saguna. Brahman with attributes. Now, from where did this Brahman suddenly appear with attributes? It did not appear from anywhere. What is happening here? We in the relative universe are trying to form an idea of that transcendental reality through our minds, because we have no other instrument. Only through the mind can we try to grasp anything, whether it be a thing of this world or whether it be God. How can the mind grasp something which is beyond the mind? It cannot. Is it not? So, when we try to imagine the reality, when we try to see the reality, we are seeing through a glass, as it were. And that glass, that partition, is the mind. So now suppose this glass there is red, and I am enclosed within a room which is completely surrounded by red glass. So when I see something outside, I'll be seeing what is outside, but it will all appear red. When the glass is gone, I will be seeing the same thing, but now it will appear in a different way, as it is. So here, when we are trying to form any idea of God, we can only do so through these created things, because we are within the creation. To see God as it is, we have to transcend this creation. We cannot do so now. But we still have to form an idea of what God is. Otherwise, how will you pray? How will you meditate? And the only idea which we can form is through our mind. So when we see the same reality, which is without attributes, without any quality, etc., etc., when we see it through our minds, we see it through this relative universe, as it were. And then we can only see it having some quality. Because when the mind enters the picture, the whole relative universe enters the picture. It is the mind which is creating all this. So as soon as you see through the mind, then all differentiation comes. I, you, good, bad, everything comes. So then we can only try to imagine or think of that attributeless Brahman as being endowed with attributes, because the mind cannot conceive of anything which is beyond attributes. And this conception of God, our conception of God while we are still in this relative universe, is called in Sanskrit Ishvara. This is the technical meaning of the term Ishvara. Ish means ruler. Isha. So he is Ishvara, means he is ruling everything, the whole universe. The whole universe is being emanated from that Ishvara, which is with attributes. In the attributes form, there can be no question of creation. So we are all trying to, these things when I am saying, we are trying to build up to something. What is that something? Now let us see. So who can create? Only God with attributes. That's natural. And he is called Ishvara, or also called the personal God. So when we say Ramakrishna, when we say Vishnu, when we say Shiva, when we say Divine Mother, these are all personal gods. Forms of the same God, but different forms, different names. So this attributeless reality, which is called Nirguna Brahman, is the basis of the reality with attributes. The attributeless reality is the basis of the personal God. as we have explained right now. That personal God is supposed to be immanent in the universe and conditioned by Maya. So God is not conditioned, God is free. If God was conditioned, He would not be God. Why are we saying conditioned by Maya? Because we can only see Him through Maya. So when we see outside through a red glass, nothing is happening to the outside. We say then the outside is conditioned by the red glass. But is anything affecting the trees and plants outside the red glass? Is it influencing it? No. We say it is conditioned. Why? Because we cannot see except through that glass. So we can only think of the attributeless reality through Maya, through this duality universe. That is why we say he is conditioned by Maya. These may appear a little difficult, but if you reflect on it, it will slowly become clear. So, what is happening here? It is said to make us understand, without compulsion from outside, the attributeless reality Brahman imposes upon itself, as it were, a limit, and thus becomes manifest as the personal God, the soul, and the universe. Creation, preservation, and destruction are the activities of God with attributes, the personal God, which is called Saguna Brahman. So it is that Brahman with attributes by whom all things have been created, and by whom, after being created, they are sustained, and into whom, in the end, they are absorbed. So as we have discussed yesterday in a brief manner, that suppose the outside world, whether seen through the red glass or seen without the red glass, actually there is no change there. So the world seen through the glass and the world seen without the glass, as it is, are the same. They are not two. Similarly, Brahman with attributes and Brahman without attributes are actually the same. The difference is within us. When we go to a higher state consciousness, we see the same reality in a different way, without the glass. But when we are in the conditioned universe, we can only think of him through attributes. There is no other way. So, Brahman with attributes and without attributes are the same. We should remember this. So, without attributes can only be experienced when we go beyond the mind, not before. But when it is seen through the veil of our mind, or the veil of Maya as it is called, then it is called the great Lord, what is called Maheshwara, or Ishwara, or Bhagavan, whatever you call it, or as we say in English, God, God. This is the God whom we can think of. The mind cannot think of anything higher, and whom we can worship, whom we can pray to. So when we are praying to Jesus, when we are praying to Buddha, when we are praying to Rama, Krishna, or Ramakrishna, we are praying to what? The supreme reality, which is God. But in a personal form, in a form with a name. Why? Because till we are within the mind, we cannot think of God in any other way. Now, to create the universe, power is needed. As we saw yesterday, no creation is possible without that power. And that power is Shakti. Where does that power inhere? Where does that power reside? Where does the heat of the fire reside? Where does the heat of the fire reside? In the fire. So God's power also resides in God. Is it not? All this power inheres in God, which is all Brahman, you can say. So that power is through which God can create, sustain, and take back into its cause the universe. We say the universe is destroyed. It cannot be destroyed in that sense. Destroyed, generally we think that, it's vanished. It cannot vanish. It just goes into the seed form. Creation is cyclic. It is manifestation and unmanifested state, like that. So God takes the creation into His own being. The next cycle, He again projects it. That is what the Vedanta says. So in the Chandi, that is why it is said, worshipping the Divine Mother is portrayed as the power of God. It is not separate from God, but so that we can have an idea. It is assumed to have two forms, so that we can understand it better. That is why we conceive of the power of God as the Divine Mother. And God in whatever form we can imagine. We have discussed yesterday this in a brief manner. That is why it is said in the Chandi, it is very beautiful, so I will just chant the two lines and then translate. Tvayai tadharyate vishvam Tvayai tad srijyate jagat Tvayai tad palyate devi Tvamatsante cha sarvada. By you, this universe is born. By you, this world is created. By you, it is protected. O Devi. Devi means goddess. And finally, you merge the universe into yourself. So, if you have read the life of Holy Mother by revered Gambhiranandji Maharaj, that was one of the first lives written by Nikhilanandji, by Gambhiranandji. So, in his introduction, Gambhiranandji says, what we have discussed, just in 2 sentences, we will again say. God, as associated with His power, mind you, is alone able to set in motion a new cycle of social and spiritual regeneration. Else, it is impossible to conceive of the absolute Brahman as involved in any process of evolution. The absolute Brahman means the Brahman without qualities. It can have no creation is possible in that transcendental state. So only God with qualities associated with His Shakti, that is power, is able to set in motion a new cycle of social and spiritual regeneration. To do that, our scriptures say God incarnates Himself in a human body. And this regeneration, process of regeneration, what is called? Regeneration of what? It is called regeneration of dharma. This one word in Sanskrit, of course it is in other languages also, this one word has a host of meanings. So this spiritual regeneration, social regeneration, moral regeneration, everything is conveyed by this regeneration of dharma. And when we say the pranam mantra of Sri Ramakrishna, what is it? Sthapakaya. Sthapakaya means establishment. You can also say regeneration. Sthapakaya cha dharma. So this is dharma. And God, who does it? Who establishes dharma? Who regenerates dharma? Only God can do it. God associated with His power. So this power by which He does all His actions is His Shakti. And all the energy in the world is the manifestation of this one power. So one supreme power. From that is emanate. So suppose you think of the sun. From the sun, innumerable rays are emanating. We say the sun is the primal source of energy. And all the rays emanating, they are also energy. But the sun is the primal energy, so to say. So here also, all the actions in this world, physical, moral, any intellectual, any action, is the manifestation of that one power. So to differentiate the sun from its rays, what can we say? We can say sun is the primal energy. Here also, to differentiate that primal energy, we call it the primordial power. So the Divine Mother is called the primordial power, because from that power is emanating all energy in the whole universe. And that primordial is called in Sanskrit Adya. In the feminine word, Adya Shakti. Adi means beginning. So that power which was in the beginning, primordial power, from that emanates all the energy in the universe. So primordial power is that divine power of God through which this whole creation is first done, then sustained, and then again taken back. So everything, every manifestation of power is from that power, original power herself. We imagine it in a feminine form. That Adya Shakti. That is why in praising the Divine Mother in the Durga Saptashati, you must have heard of it. It is called Chandi. Chandi and Durga Saptashati are the same different names of the same book. And that is supposed to be the Bible of those who worship God as the primordial energy. You can worship God in any way you like. You can worship Him as someone who has snakes in his around him, that is Shiva. You can picture him as someone who has a conch and a mace in his hand, Vishnu. You can picture him as energy only, divine energy, manifested in a feminine form. So those people are called worshippers of Shakti, worshippers of power, and they are called Shaktas. So their Bible is Chandi or Durga Saptashati. So there it is, what we have discussed, there it says in a beautiful way. It is all poetry, you see, beautiful poetry. Yaccha kinchit kvachid vastu sat asad va khilatmike tasya sarvasya ya shakti Satvam kim stuyate maya. Whatever or wherever a thing exists, conscious or unconscious, whatever power anyone possesses is, O Goddess, only you, in another form. In what manner is it possible to extol you, who are the soul of everything? You are unlimited. So how can I praise you with my limited language? How can I present infinity through my finite words? So he is expressing his inability. to praise the goddess in all her glories. That is why this beautiful verse is there. So, let us conclude by just summing up, then maybe yes, we can just have another session, whatever. So, the goddess is addressed as the supreme power behind all inanimate and animate objects. She is the power behind speech, behind cognition, behind affirmation, behind denial also. When she alone is essentially that power in everything, the devotee feels unworthy to offer praise. For how does one praise the very force that constitutes all affirmation and all existence? So, to conclude today our discussion, I will again quote one beautiful verse which says the same thing. Tvam Vaishnavi Shaktirananta Virya Vishwasya Bijam Paramasi Maya Sammohitam Devi Samastametat Tvam Vai Prasanna Bhuvi Mukti Hetu. O Goddess, O Devi, you are the endless source of energy which rules the whole universe, and you are the seed of this universe also. It is true that by your power all the living beings are deluded, but it is also true that if you are pleased, you become the cause of liberation of all living beings. So when God incarnates as man, He does it only with the help of His power. We cannot think of God without His power. So in this age, God incarnates in every age. And in this age we believe that God has again incarnated as Sri Ramakrishna. And since He cannot be imagined as being divorced of His power, the power always accompanies God. Along with Sri Ramakrishna has also come Sri Sarada Devi, whom we call the Holy Mother. They are one and the same thing, one and the same reality, just viewed from different standpoints. So we can conclude here today. Jananim Sardam Devi Ramakrishnam Jagatgurum Pada Padme Tayo Shritva Pranamami.
Is there any question on this?
I had a question.
Yes, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Pranam Maharaj, this is Akshay.
Okay. Everybody knows about you.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Like the universe is ultimately unreal, then God will also ultimately unreal.
I couldn't understand.
Acha, okay. Repeat your question again. Repeat
Will also be
your question again.
like the universe is ultimately unreal. So then God will also be ultimately unreal.
No, because God is beyond the universe. We have already discussed it. The transcendental aspect of God is beyond the universe. He cannot be touched by anything whatsoever.
the present concept of your God, that may be disappeared. But the reality behind that is you also. Your reality, God's reality. Your reality, not present Akshay. Similarly, not present concept of God. That may go. As you grow, the concept of God also will grow. Gradually, you will not say it is God. Rather, you realize, then everything is silent. So reality remains, but the adjuncts may disappear. Yes.
Swami Vivekananda said, there is only one God, the knownness of the known.
Yeah, the knower of the known. Yeah. We have just discussed the same thing. There is only one God, and only He is the knower. Because we have seen that only that which is conscious can know. In every act of cognition, the knower is only one, that which is conscious. And God is consciousness itself.
Yes, Mother.
I just have a question that when evolution and involution and the time of pralaya, of apparent anonymity, so to speak, does Shakti go into, what do you call it, hibernation? Also, if that is the power of all of the manifestations and evolution of things.
See, Shakti is neither manifesting nor unmanifesting. The power is always there. Through that power, the universe is being manifested and unmanifested. So, Sri Ramakrishna has explained this in a very simple terms. When a snake is moving, it is a snake. When the snake is resting, it is a snake. Now, when the snake is resting, does the power of movement go away from him or from it? No. It is just in a potential form. It is not active. So we can, with our limited minds, we can just imagine that the power is always there. When it is actively manifested in the universe, then we see everything. But when it draws everything within itself, you can say it is in a latent form or potential form. But because God can never disappear, His power also can never disappear. When the time comes, it will again manifest the universe.
Very good. Okay, I can give you an example. You go to sleep, then you go transcend to the dreamless state. What happens? You go to potential form, say everything is absorbed. Again the next day you manifest. You are real, but manifestation and non-manifestation are on you. Okay, song. So now,
Which song would you like? Which?
Whatever.
The language is the problem. Okay. So, do you want me to introduce you to songs of the great Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore? Because he was a genius and so there is one song which is amazing. Most of his songs are amazing. So this he wrote when he was overcome by great sorrow. And when you understand understand the meaning of the song, you can imagine that what a highly spiritual person was he to write this song in to,
Humming.
humming. So, how great a spiritual person he must have been, huh? So the song is, he says, there is misery in the universe. Ache dukha. Dukha means misery. Then he says, there is the fact of death. Ache mrityu. And a person very dear to him had passed away. Most probably it was his either wife or son. And then he says, Biraha means separation. The fire of separation burns my heart. But the next line is amazing. Still there is peace. Tovuo shanti. Still there is bliss. Tovuo ananda. This is the amazing which he, that's what kind of person he must have been. And Tovuo ananto jage. Ananta means infinite. So still there is the manifestation of infinite in the midst of this suffering. So I will sing this song. And he also presents how everything in the world is ephemeral. He says that a wave arises in the ocean and the wave is again merged in the ocean. A flower blooms, but a flower withers away. But I want something which is beyond both. That's something which will never change. And I want a place at the feet of that supreme reality. That is God. So in times of intense suffering and which a person, he goes practically out of his mind, if a person can write this song, you can imagine what level he must have been. Just one second, I just take the song. He has written such innumerable songs. Should we end with one Thakur song or whatever?
Yes.
Or you want me to sing a Hindi song?
সেটা তুমি তো আমি জিজ্ঞেস করো।
Hard when you don't know the words.
Chanda will like it, so she says that everyone will like it.
We don't know, I don't know, what do you say?
Oh my God, I forgot to bring my Android phone.
If you want, I can do it.
You can connect with your phone. Do you have Android?
No, I don't want it. Same iPhone.
Yeah, yeah.
I can bring it from upstairs if you want.
Yeah.
It's not good.
এমনি গাও
Evening, okay. Yeah. Or if you want, you can sing an English song also. English, everybody will follow.
যেটা তুমি
Okay, okay.
যেটা whatever comes to you.
Your choice.
No, actually, I just want to what you people want. I see. So you can sing a Hindi song and then we can. So this Hindi song is one portion you people can all join because I want you people to join. So at the end of each line there is only one name. Ram, Ram, Ram. Yeah? So I'll tell you the tune, very simple, the Rama part, and please join. That will give greater joy. So the meaning is simple, that with a mind full of devotion, chant the name of Shri Ram. Please repeat after me the Ram part. So it starts with this. Prem mudita manase kaho Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Shri Ram Ram Ram. So you already know.
Sunday, प्रत्येक Sunday.
Let's sing this together. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम श्री राम 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 परम शांति सुख निधान दिव्य राम नाम परम शांति सुख निधान नित्य राम नाम निराधार को आधार एक राम निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम। श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। परम गोप्य परम इष्ट मंत्र राम, परम गोप्य परम इष्ट मंत्र राम नाम। संत हृदय सदा बसत एक राम नाम, संत हृदय सदा बसत एक राम नाम। श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। महादेव सतत जपत दिव्य राम नाम, महादेव सतत जपत दिव्य राम नाम। काशी मरत मुक्त करत देत राम नाम, काशी मरत मुक्त करत कहत राम नाम। श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। मात पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम, मात पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम। भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम, भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम। श्री राम राम राम, 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 श्री राम राम राम। प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, श्री 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 राम राम राम।
So thank you very much, my brother. Tomorrow we'll have the third day of this session, and then